System 1 loaded. Booting up system. Loading.
Gabriel Valentine.
Loading.
Dan Brozo. This is the Digital Lizards of Doom show live at Meltdown. 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 Meltdown.
Hey! My hand's right there. There it is. There we go.
Yeah. Was it off frame to start that?
Yeah.
Such a professional, folks. Gabe, my co-host, a professional.
Been doing the 3D hand thing a lot.
Yeah.
I went to...
Some say too much.
No, I don't think anybody said that.
There's been people saying that.
For those of you who don't know, I went to co-host school, and they were telling us that you gotta do the point. So I've been doing like the point a lot, like going stuff like this.
That's the new school theory of co-hosting.
So for all you guys in the back, are you guys having a good time? Yeah, come on down. So, anyways, no.
He's pointing at a light fixture.
That's
just
stupid.
so you know.
I'm pointing at Mel from Meltdown Comics.
Oh, he is kind of.
What's up, guys? Do you notice anything? Is there anything different here?
Yeah, that there's normally two people at the beginning.
It's Londyn Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
This is Londyn Jackson from History of Batman, an extremely popular Instagram.
Seriously.
Would it be considered a blog or
It's a
blog?
it's a blog.
Right? Yeah, it's a blog.
It's just growing.
And you guys have what, like 100 and like gazillion followers right now or something?
We have like 152,000.
It's insane.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Right, we do a lot of fist bumps on the show. So.
He does a lot of fist bumps on this show. I just sit back and scoff.
Dan is anti-fist bump for some reason. He doesn't like having it.
No,
The fist bump is awesome.
It's like a sprinkle of sugar, though, you know? Like,
we
I'm not just going to put...
Glumpus all the time.
Shut up. I like fist bumps, too.
Anyways, yeah, we are so stoked.
So this is typically our news segment. So our news today is that you're on the show.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
And there's a couple things that make it awesome. First of all, she's just awesome all on her own.
Duh.
First off. Second of all, obviously, History of Batman fits into what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Third of all, you are now an official member of the Meltdown family. So welcome to the family.
Thank you so much.
And you can, right now, let's just get this out of the way. Where can people go and check out your podcast, History of Batman?
If you go to meltcomics.com right now, the second episode is up. It's History of the Batman with Londyn.
Nice.
And yeah, it'll come out every Wednesday, every Nerd Wednesday. So there's more Batman history to learn.
Every Nerd Wednesday.
Yeah.
Rad.
So definitely
cool.
check it out. It's been so fun recording and being able to expand the blog and, learn,
Yeah, Instagram you can only do so much, you know?
Right.
You get a picture and your info.
In ways. Yeah.
You were actually the blog that showed me how much information you could pack into an Instagram.
Oh.
You give like some major info. I mean,
yeah,
it's
and some
interesting.
people, they think it's a little overwhelming. They're like, it's too much to read.
Well, it's
and
not for
stuff,
them then.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah, but then a lot of
It's called
people
the
like
history
it.
of Batman. Like,
you're not
they're
Batman
coming for
enough.
some facts. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the bottom
Yeah,
line. You're
who
not
doesn't
Batman
want to
enough.
learn more about Batman? I mean,
Some people we don't
Batman's
care to
awesome.
talk
You
about
need to
right
eat your
now.
veggies every now and then. It can't always be cake and ice cream.
Yeah.
So,
Delicious Batman-themed veggies.
so yeah, let's talk a little bit about what you do.
Well, I started a little over 2 years ago, and it pretty much was more for me to learn about a character that I've loved since I was young. I watched Batman the Animated Series,
Heck yeah.
and I grew up on the 66 live-action show. Adam West is my favorite Batman. People, I know people don't like that. It's all campy.
You should watch our
no.
last. Was there a last episode where we did all the many faces of Batman?
Yeah, it was 2 ago. There was a video that had all of the different actors that played Batman like dubbed onto like a scene from Michael Keaton
I
movie.
am Batman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then,
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, the Justice League one is so funny. And he's like, "I'm Batman." Like, you sound like a dork, but I still love you. Yeah.
But yeah, it just pretty much grew. I wanted to just learn about Batman and kind of in a orderly manner, just in chronological order. So I started from the first comic, Detective Comics 27 from 1939, and I just moved forward through the decades, and you just learn about first appearances and important story arcs and important writers and artists that made Batman, a character that everyone still loves after 76 years now.
Maybe more than ever now, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's so popular in film and, and now television with Gotham and all the other DC shows.
What do you think about Gotham?
I actually enjoy it. I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's no Batman in it.
It's like you either like it or you love
there
it or
is
hate
no
it. It's really
middle.
weird,
It is definitely you either love it or you hate it. I like the aspect of learning more about the characters before they become the villains. Like you see Edward Nygma before he's Riddler, and you see Penguin, and he's kind of this, criminal underground lord before he becomes like kind of, his own character.
Gangster,
right.
Yeah.
You kind of see that, that origin, and especially with Bruce, even though he's young, you already
still
see him.
BA.
Yeah, totally. He's already kind of training and everything. And then at the end, I mean, I don't know if this spoils it for anybody, but the season finale, he pretty much finds the Batcave behind his fireplace. So it's already starting to put in those little pieces of the mythos that makes him.
He's
just
already like
amazing.
giving Alfred like directions. Okay, so in 20 years, I want to build some stuff here. So let's start building stuff because that would make sense. It's like when you turn 30 and all of a sudden you have all this stuff. Like it makes sense if he's like a little kid.
Start
and he's
stocking
like,
up.
Yeah.
In 30 years, I'm gonna want to beat the crap out of like bad guys. Let's start planning this now.
But yeah, I mean, so it pretty much turned from, just talking about comics and all of the other media, and then the page just grew, and it's always, I'm so grateful for everyone that follows and really gives positive feedback, and they love the format of the page, and it's, grown to a mini Batman community, I think, and a lot of people get to share how much they like something, or even if they don't like it, they get to give their opinion on, what's their favorite story and why, and what character they like and what they don't like, and you get to really talk to people who enjoy this character as much as you do. And so I always wanted to be, a nice, cool atmosphere for everybody, that they feel welcome, that they can, geek out pretty much. And so that's what I think it's turning into, and especially with the podcast too, I think it's, I really like the way it's going. And so it's really for people who like Batman, and they should come and follow if they want.
If you don't like it, you're just not Batman enough. So sorry. Bottom line.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So my question when I heard that you were coming on today is, what should I know about Batman that I do not know about Batman? Super open-ended, and I'm sure there's a million things that I should know about Batman that I don't know. But like, what are some choice favorite like factoids that you drop on somebody's like, oh, you thought you knew Batman? How about this?
I think he is very, and you probably already see this, he's very territorial, not just from over Gotham, but kind of his allies as well.
Okay.
I think that if anyone, even when you see him in other comics, if he's in the Superman comic or Wonder Woman, he's very territorial of where he, brings justice to the city. When anyone comes in, that's his city. It's like, no, this is mine. And it's just, he kind of comes off as, a little bit of a prick at times, but it's just more how much he wants to ensure that his city is safe. And so I always liked that aspect about him. Yeah, he's kind of the hard ass of the Justice League, if you think about it,
For
he's
sure.
a realistic one. He's like the dad of the Justice
Right,
League.
exactly.
Like, Superman's like the
mom?
Superman's like the Steve Jobs of the Justice League. And like Batman's just kind of like
in what sense?
Because he's like the genius who puts everything together, and he has access to all the technology and stuff. Because he can go to all these different planets. Like, can you build a satellite, Bruce Wayne? Oh, cool. I'm gonna go get some chemicals from this universe.
Yeah, Superman's kind of like the face of the group, and then Batman's kind of like behind. He's the brains of it,
like
He's
in the
like
shadows,
the manager.
Right, exactly. He makes sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go.
Remember,
Definitely.
we got to keep a lookout for each other. So I've been over here collecting ways on how to kill you guys, and I'm just saying, just in case, don't get mad. Just
for your own protection.
Yeah.
And I know that this sounds weird, and everyone knows it, but I think they kind of forget about it when they read certain stories that Batman's human. And that's a really big aspect of any of his stories.
You think he has kind of like a almost like Napoleon complex,
A
not his size, but because of he's human.
Yeah, I think
He's
so.
among other people that
yeah,
aren't human,
definitely.
yeah.
But he uses, his knowledge in martial arts and all the sciences, to be, like I said, that person that's kind of the brains of the operation. The thing, he's the one that puts everything in order, and he's among all of these gods and people with superpowers, and he has none. And his humanity kind of makes him someone that I think readers really relate to in the end.
That's how I feel hanging out with Dan on a regular basis. Like I'm constantly trying to not compete with him, but I'm trying to I'm always under his shadow.
Don't make me uncomfortable, dude.
No,
You're making me uncomfortable right now. A little bit.
I was trying to.
Let's change the subject.
Okay, whatever, fine.
Who's your favorite villain?
Oh, Bane.
Really?
Really?
I
Okay,
always
cool.
get that reaction.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many awesome ones to choose from. Bane.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Bane's an
But yeah,
interesting.
I like Bane because it's a little biased, but Batman 497, when he broke Batman, that was the first comic I ever read, and that's what really got me into
That'll do
Batman
it.
actually.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I like the character, and not just because he was the first one to really break Batman and kind of show Batman's humanity probably more than the other character before, but Bane himself, he's a good villain because he actually has like a human side to him, with pumping up with the venom. You see in other stories that he almost becomes addicted to it, and he has to kind of battle that on his own. And then in
Batman Beyond.
definitely.
Are you a fan of that?
Yes, I am.
So
I'm
good.
definitely
So
just
good.
like that. So yeah, Bane's my favorite, but I think
Love
the
that.
Joker is his arch nemesis. That is
yeah.
his foil.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
That's like his frenemy.
Yeah, pretty much. Because they don't want to kill each other.
And Joker can't exist without Batman.
Exactly. He can't.
Batman can exist without the Joker, but he's not in the same way.
Did you know that the Batman and the Joker relationship was modeled? You probably knew this. It was
Let's hear
modeled
it.
after the Sherlock Holmes relationship between Sherlock Holmes
yeah.
and Professor Moriarty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Pretend like you know. Just kidding. Of course you know.
Oh,
Of course you
that's
knew that.
actually what Bill Finger wanted. He wanted Batman to have someone that is kind of like that foil for him. And that's how Jerry Robinson, he came in and he was inspired by Conrad Voight's appearance in The Man Who Laughs from the 1928 silent film. And he wanted a disfigured villain that kind of would go up against Batman, who is like, he's dressed as a giant bat. So they kind of both are kind of eerie figures, but they go toe to toe, and they definitely, they mirror each other very
and it's
well.
like it's the thing I love about the Joker, and I don't want to say like the Joker is like my favorite villain because I feel like it's everybody's favorite villain, but
Gabe's a little bit of a villain hipster, yeah.
Dude, I hate saying the whole time, but it's so true. No, but like there's something about the Joker that Batman is almost like on the verge of realizing that he has to take this guy out.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like the one
definitely.
villain where he's like, is this the guy that I should kill?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Exactly.
constantly, he's like, maybe I should just like for this one time just break my rule and just take this guy out because like he's too gnarly to be left alive.
Yeah.
And I just love that struggle. Like,
Yeah,
it's really
definitely.
sweet.
I mean, with every, even though in each issue, he puts him back in Arkham or, he's incarcerated somewhere, at the end,
I put
it's
him in the Batcave. Like, you're not getting out of here, dude.
Just drag him behind him on a chain. Yeah.
I
You're
built my
coming with
own
me,
prison
Joker.
house,
Keep an
Batman.
eye on you. Yeah.
but no matter what the Joker did, it kind of cuts into his conscience a little bit, saying Batman kind of lost with every person Joker hurt or killed or everything, and he's still alive. It kind of questions his own sanity. Is he doing the right thing with keeping a madman on the streets? And yeah, it definitely shows kind of like Batman's psychosis and trying to deal with this criminal, but not breaking his rule of killing and all of that. So yeah, it's always interesting to see them go head to head, and so that's
Cool.
why I really liked the conclusion for Endgame in Batman 40 that was out like a couple weeks ago, and yeah, just how that dynamic even was at the very end, and now we have a whole new thing going on with the new Batman and everything. But yeah, they showed the Joker and Batman together till the end, and I think that's how it's going to be, just however
It
the
has to
comics go. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Sweet, man.
Are you super stoked for the new movie?
I am. I have been following, all of the, all the set footage and everything for both.
Movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for both
Movies.
Yeah.
Batman
Yeah.
v Superman and Suicide Squad.
Suicide
I'm
Squad.
super stoked. People, they go.
Harley Quinn.
I know. I like Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
She's pretty hot. So I think she could make a
Pretty
really good
hot,
Harley
yeah,
Quinn.
she's super hot.
Harley she's a sex bot. So you kind of need that kind of allure to her.
I actually
so.
wasn't down with that actress playing her until I saw all the photos.
Yeah.
Of her
Yeah.
crazy. And I was like, oh.
Right.
Yep.
It's
Dang,
so hard to like imagine someone in the role, like especially when everyone's like, oh, Ben Affleck's going to suck. And then they saw him in the suit. They're like, okay, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
You know?
I was always down with Ben Affleck.
Yeah,
like I heard
like
it.
him
As soon as I heard it, I was
I
like,
like him, but I
this guy.
didn't think he was a good fit until I saw him.
Right.
In the
You
suit. I was
just,
like,
you
"Alright."
have to see the
he's ripped
visual.
up, dude.
Yeah.
And Zack Snyder is one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
So
He's
I
really
trust
good.
that guy completely.
Yeah,
I will
mean-
love Sucker Punch to the end. I don't care what anybody says. Like people,
I'm down.
Everyone, I'm like, sorry, I got it.
Yeah.
Again. Here's the thing though. I'm gonna go on from a Sucker Punch tangent. Zach, I hope you see this, because I love you, dude. But seriously, I followed Sucker Punch all the way till the movie came out.
Okay.
And I feel like that was the thing that was missing. I think it would have done way more, because it was almost like, and he designed it that way so you could follow all these prequel stories. Like,
Right.
there was so many stories of, like, there's Baby Doll and like everyone that was on the posters, like those posters that came out and stuff.
Right.
You're supposed to be following that, so when you went to go see the movie, it was like a continuation. And
Yeah.
when he made it, it was like he left so much stuff out because of that reason.
Okay. Yeah.
And so for me, I got it.
Right.
All the people or a lot of people I went with, they were like, "Wait, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh no!" Like,
Yeah.
So, but no, I love Zach. So when he announced that like Ben Affleck was Batman, I'm like, dude, Zach knows what he's doing. And
Right.
I'm down.
Yeah,
So.
people need to have more faith in the studio sometimes. You
Yeah.
know, they don't give Warner Brothers as much credit as they
Yeah.
probably should. But
They
I'm
learned their
super
lesson with
stoked.
Batman or Superman Returns. I think they learned their lesson.
Yeah, I think after that they're like, okay, we need to take our time with this one.
Yeah. So
Want to talk about some comic books though? I imagine we're gonna have a theme involved today.
I feel like it. I feel
Maybe.
I might have
Maybe.
seen something over there.
Let's do it. Let's Dizzy Doom comic boom.
Dizzy Doom's comic boom.
Dizzy Doom's comic boom, and oh, you haven't seen our secret handshake yet.
Oh.
It's very SoCal, we know.
Nice.
So you have picked out some Batman comics for us today.
I have two that are both story arcs, and I think
Okay.
if anyone who wants to start reading Batman comics, I think
Yeah.
these two are really good choices to kind of just jump you into learning about Batman. And yeah, the first one is a really good arc. It's a Batman
Check
Year
that out.
One. It's by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. It's a 4-issue arc. So it's from 1987, and this is actually a really important arc. First of all, just because of the tone. I mean, Frank Miller, after he in 1986, after when Post Crisis started, I guess he kind of brought Batman back to being a kind of dark figure. You know, from the 60s, it was very campy. You know, and you hadn't really seen Batman kind of from his gothic roots, like in the 40s. He brought Batman to being this kind of, you know, shadowy figure, kind of having a dark story,
Yeah.
you know, with him. And so after Batman The Dark Knight Returns, a year before, he created a new origin story pretty much for Batman. Everyone knows that, you know, Batman was created after, you know, he walks down a dark alley coming home from a movie with his parents, then a random mugger shoots both of his mom and dad,
Yeah.
and then that makes him want to get vengeance for their death. And so this story kind of presents that to an all new, I think, generation in a sense, because you always, you know, hear like throughout the decades some writer will redo the origin story, but this kind of places it where you see him not just after the origin story, but how he traveled, you know, abroad to learn all of the martial arts, and you know, he kind of spent time. You see him training to become Batman.
Yeah.
And Year One is the literal, like, first, you know, time that he becomes Batman. So you see his first adventures, and you
That's
also
rad.
get to learn about Commissioner Gordon, which is one of my favorite Batman characters.
Yeah.
And
He
he's
has a little thing on the side.
yes, he's a little. He does, but you know, you know, you can't judge him a little bit. But you know,
under a
he
lot
was
of
a
stress.
lot of stress. Definitely. I'm
And
not
that
saying
just
that's the way
complicates
to
the character,
go.
too.
Yeah, definitely. It brings more to the character. He's not just, a cop that trusts Batman. I mean, you see him before. He's a detective pretty much. I mean, he's not even commissioner yet. And you pretty much see his beginnings and how he came to the city and all of his struggles that he had with all the corruption and, the GCPD and everything. And so, yeah, I definitely recommend this story. It has great art. Mazzucchelli is always one of my favorites. And it's definitely one where if you want to learn about Batman and how he came to be, that's definitely a way to go. So, yeah, that's Batman Year One by Frank Miller. And the next one
let me interrupt you real quick.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Do you have a preference? What do you prefer? I know you said Adam West is your favorite Batman.
Yeah.
Do you like the lighthearted stuff more than the darker stuff, or do you just like Adam West as that Batman more? Or as Batman more?
I like Adam West as that Batman because I think he represented that era perfectly.
Absolutely,
the 60s and the pop art and just everything. I mean, all of the onomatopoeias on the screen and the bright colors and just the lightheartedness. It represented the Silver Age comics that were happening at the time, and he just was perfect for that era. I don't think you could put Adam West, as the Dark Knight Returns Batman, which I would almost love to see, though.
Cameo.
Yeah, I mean, if he was a darker, that would be so rad. I would love to see him as a.
Dude, Mayor West. Just call him Mayor West.
Nobody messes with Adam Wee. That would be sick to see him do that.
So cool.
Okay.
Are you a cool mayor?
Do they get into the origin story of Batman at all in the 60s Batman? I haven't watched like a ton of it. I've watched a lot of it.
Really, the only reference is actually in the first episode when you're first introduced to Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, and he mentions that, his parents were killed when he was young. Like, it's literally a sentence. That's it.
Passing.
You don't see a flashback or anything like that. I think it was that's a little dark, but they put it in there in the first episode and never have to hear it again for the next 3 seasons.
How do you make that scene campy or goofy? Like,
you
pow, boom, your parents are dead. Aww.
And I mean, you even see it in the cartoons and stuff, and that's for kids, but they make it work. I mean, you don't, if you don't see the gun, you'll pan over, you'll hear the sound, the lightning will flash.
Yeah, Disney has characters die.
Someone always dies in Disney movies.
Oh, yeah. Right in the first 10
minutes. A parent always is gone.
Simba is basically Batman.
It's very
just putting that out there.
I never made that connection.
I mean, it's not a very good connection, but
it just blew my mind.
There's one thing similar.
The only thing I made with Lion King is what? Mufasa and Scar were like Hamlet.
Yeah,
kinda?
absolutely.
Is it kind of like that vibe?
Yeah, because that's exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Is it like that?
Shakespearean.
Yeah. But Simba totally can be Batman. I'm not gonna have him not be Batman. That sounds awesome.
Dude, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Let's get you on as Batman, dude.
Dude, Matthew Broderick, even better. Inspector Gadget.
The Broadway one.
Yeah. Anyway,
what can't he do?
We get off on some crazy tangents on this.
That's the beauty of the D-Lod show.
Yeah.
All right, so sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no worries. The interruptions are awesome. And the next story, I think, is a more modern take, and it's one of, I guess, it's one of their most popular ones, Batman Hush, which is a really great arc. It's by Jeff Loeb, who wrote Batman The Long Halloween, another arc that's great. And
Jim Lee, of course.
Jim Lee is the artist, and with Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair. The art is beautiful, and I think that's why it still stands, decade after. It's still a great arc. It's about what 13 issues, and it's pretty much introducing not only all of pretty much his rogues gallery, you see pretty much everybody, but it also introduced a new character, Hush, who is kind of, you don't really see him much, but he's kind of a shadowy figure, and Batman pretty much has to track him down. And this arc is important because you also get reintroduced to the character of Jason Todd, which he was, I guess, killed in '89's Batman: A Death in the Family, which was really hard on Batman. And so Batman pretty much deals with a lot of psychological things, and it's a really great illustration of how much he deals with in Gotham in terms of his villains. But you also see him in his romantic side. He kind of,
you do.
Yeah, him and Catwoman.
You're only chiming in on stuff like that. Yeah, little thing on the side. Heck yeah, you do.
All creepily stuff. Like creepy Uncle Gabe at the dinner party.
But, well, I mean, he's right, though. I mean, Batman and Catwoman definitely develop a deeper relationship, and Batman, Bruce Wayne reveals that
I was hoping
he's
you
Batman.
didn't do that.
That's so not even what I meant.
Well, sorry. Creepy Uncle Dan over here. I'm sorry, dude.
Dude. Wow.
You missed what he said, didn't you?
Yeah,
it's for the
I
better.
did.
You'll see it when you watch this later. That was awful, Gabe.
I'm so sorry. Well, now I just feel ashamed. 'Cause
As you
it's still not what I
should.
meant. But I
right,
love the
let's move
story
on,
of
let's
Catwoman
move
and Batman. Anyways.
But
goodness
yeah,
gracious.
this.
By the way, let me say this real quick. This is gonna be our one not family friendly episode.
Yeah, we're gonna have a disclaimer.
I'm not gonna
in here.
bleep the end of this one because there's so many bombs to be cleaned up. Dean Del Rey is our. We did the interview earlier. Spoiler, behind lifting the veil right there, and it was expletive heavy. It was amazing. One of my favorite interviews we've ever done.
Put the kids to bed first, and then come watch the episode.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll have a disclaimer. It pops up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
For the better. Sorry to interrupt you again, Londyn.
No worries. But yeah, in a nutshell, Batman Hush, you get a new villain, you get to see all of the old villains, and you get to see more of Batman's, side, his, what he's thinking and how he acts and his feelings. I mean, he pretty much puts his heart on the line, and then, with Catwoman, revealing his identity and who he hasn't really done with. I mean, there's like a handful of characters, that you can name who he tells his identity to, but he trusts her enough. But all of the events that happen, it's visually stunning, and it's a really good modern take on Batman's mythos, and that I definitely recommend Batman Hush for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Super into it. Well, thank you, Londyn, for coming on.
No, thank you guys. It was fun.
Where exactly can we find all of your stuff?
The main website is on Instagram. So if you are on Instagram, go to instagram.com/history of the Batman and you'll find me. And I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/history of the Batman. I'm on Tumblr, historyofthebatman.tumblr.com.
So you got an Etsy store, History of the Batman.
Yeah,
I have
a Batman T-shirt.
Oh,
Do you have those?
no, but I think we're trying to work that out. So
That's
if
got to
I
have
do,
licensing issues and stuff.
I think
those
they
made in
want to.
TJ,
I
yeah.
think they want to make the original design. So if so, then I can
Yeah,
work out.
that's cool. Yeah.
So we're definitely working on that. That would be. I never thought there would be any type of merchandising for this.
History of Batman with like 2 N's, so you don't have to. So you're good to go. Doesn't matter.
But yeah, if for some reason T-shirts do come out of this, you guys are getting the first ones.
Dude.
Nice.
Oh, did you hear that? That's on
Yeah.
camera. That's
You're not
recorded.
gonna nuck for that?
Oh,
I'm gonna get first dibs on that nuck.
Whatever, dude.
This guy. It's that sprinkle of nuck sugar you gotta put. Yeah. We get the first History of Batman T-shirts. Boom, nuck.
man.
Thank you, Londyn. That was awesome.
Thank you guys for having me.
Let's have you on again. That was
Definitely,
really cool.
yeah.
Let's do it.
Rad. All right,
right.
let's get to
Commander Echo's guest of honor.
Dean Del Rey.
Our guest has arrived.
Commander Echo's guest of honor is here. Dean Del Rey, thank you for coming on the show,
Hell
buddy.
yeah, thanks for having me, man.
How you doing, dude?
Good. I just enjoying the weather today. It was like, it's been shitty.
Yeah.
It's just been, this morning it was shitty.
It was on the way up.
I actually wore a jacket this morning, which is weird.
Well,
you know?
this dumbass doesn't have AC in his car, so I'm
Oh.
cool with it being all shitty in the morning.
Yeah.
It heats up, and I'm like sweating on the way up.
Well, San Diego's weird because you'll go and you'll just hit like 17 weather patterns.
Yeah.
It'll be foggy and wet, then it'll be hot, then it'll
Wasn't
be
it?
windy.
It was foggy and wet this morning, I think.
Super
when,
foggy
when I
and
picked
wet,
you up.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like
crazy.
moisture on the ground and stuff.
Yeah.
How often do you make it down to SD, man?
I was just there 2 days ago to see the Rolling Stones with Mark Maron.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Petco Park. That was awesome. Maron interviewed Jagger and Keith Richards on his podcast separately. And then he invited me down to sit in on the podcast, and then we talked after the interviews. It was incredible. And then during the interview, Mick Jagger was like, "Yeah, you got to come and bring your friend." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm his friend. You got to bring me."
That's me. He's talking about me.
Yeah. So we went down, and they gave us these incredible seats, like 10 feet from the stage.
Man.
And it was just an epic night, because I love
dude.
Maron, and it was just cool to spend a day with him seeing the Stones.
Are you a big Stones fan?
Well, yeah, hell yeah, I love the Stones, So, and Mark and I bond over the Stones.
Wow.
And I worked with the Stones in 02 to 06, so it was cool to go see it on the other side.
What'd you do with them?
I was just kind of like hosted these like VIP parties that they had for like rich people and stuff. Yeah. And I went all over doing it. I'd spin music, make sure that people were having fun, that kind of stuff before the show.
Did you say spin music?
Yeah, well, I mean,
you were a DJ.
computer, just play
DJ
music.
Dean.
I DJ'd for years, but computer. I press buttons.
What kind of stuff did you spin?
Rock.
Nice.
Yeah, when I first moved to LA, I spun all over town. I played rock, and it was one of the few guys that played rock. So if they needed rock,
The only one I've ever heard of.
yeah. So like I DJ'd right up the street here for like 2 years at this place called the Falcon.
Yeah.
And it was like a club, and then I would spin all over town on one nights and stuff.
Right.
Just playing rock. It was fun, but it gets old.
Yeah.
Because you got people that come up and they don't understand it's a rock night or that's what you play.
Yeah.
And they'll just be like, "Why don't you play anything good? Play this is when I
Take
quit.
your glow sticks and go home, dumbass.
This is when I quit. When Sexy Back came out, that song, I said, I gotta get the fuck out of this business. Because every 10 minutes a girl would come in, "Do you got Sexy Back?" And 10 minutes later, "Do you got Sexy?" It's unbelievable.
How far into your set is that? Have they like heard what you're playing already?
Yeah, and they would just straight insult you to your face. "Do you play anything good?" Like with the stink face and shit. And you're like,
To be
"This
fair, she
is
always has that
fucking
face
David
on.
Bowie."
She always has that face.
I'm
just
playing
born like
Bowie.
that.
You know what I mean? Do I play anything good?
There's some dancing numbers by Bowie.
It's
dude.
unbelievable.
Come on,
They're
dude,
not dance clubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not playing. I'm DJing in like clubs, like Falcon. It wasn't dancing. It was more like go down and drink and cool people would hang out.
Yeah. I used to do. I did weddings. Oh God, I'm so glad that's over. I mean, I'd probably still do one if someone really, really wanted me to. But
Yeah, money's nice.
Oh, I'll do them. I'll do it. No, anytime, anywhere. If they go, "Dude, we love rock, and we heard you're the guy." Like I did one for Wayne Gretzky, and he knew his lady loved rock. She was like into rock. And so he rented this place, and I DJ'd for him, and they loved every fucking song. I also used to do a lot of movie rap parties and stuff. Like I did Shrek 3, and like
that is awesome.
what's her name? Who's the girl in it? She's really hot. I forget this.
Cameron Diaz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cameron Diaz, and there's somebody else. Anyway, they come up and go, "You play the best music." That's cool. You
That's
know?
rad.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, when somebody reputable says your music's good.
Well,
Instead of the
when they're
stink-faced bitches,
into
yeah.
rock, you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're going to be hitting home runs." But
Yeah.
if you're not into rock music, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
I would just leave. Like if I go somewhere and they're playing
would just
techno,
leave
I
if
get
I
the
were
fuck
you.
out. Yeah, I don't hang out like maybe I'll get to like this.
Or just go ask the DJ to play some rock, dude.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean,
Play anything good.
You know, you're going into a place and you hear 5-6 techno songs. They're not going to just break out. Next thing you
No.
know, they're not going to play like Danzig.
Yeah, they're not
No.
gonna play any Judas Priest.
No,
man.
exactly. You know?
Painkiller. That's awesome, man. So for people who are like just tuning in, like, because I know we have a pretty wide range of like different fans and stuff that like watch
Absolutely.
the show. So for those of you who don't know Dean, shame on you. But for those of you who don't know, like, give us a really quick like wrap up of what you do for people.
Well, I'm a comedian now, but I played music 25 years, and then kind of stopped as the illegal downloading was going on and stuff. It was pretty much over. So I was like, wow, what am I going to do now? And then I decided to sell Harley Davidsons, motorcycles. I was like, I'll work at Harley. I like motorcycles. And like a year in, I was like, I've been on stage 25 years. This is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
If you've been on stage 25 years and you're trying to acclimate into the real world of getting up at 8 and going somewhere till 7, and it'll destroy your soul.
Yeah.
So I got the fuck out of there, and I got lucky and landed a movie, an Ice Cube film called The Long Shots. and some comedians were on it. Earthquake and
Nice.
And Garrett Morris from Saturday Night Live, who's on Two Broke Girls now, and Michael Collier. And we shot for a couple months in New Orleans, and I got to know Earthquake, and I was like, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a comedian. I was like, I always wanted to do that, which I did. But when I was a kid, there was no comedians young kids doing comedy.
Yeah.
Now you can go to camps, you can go online and look at shit, you can do open mic, that kind of stuff wasn't happening when I was growing up.
Maynard from Tool has a podcast, or he doesn't have a podcast. He was on a podcast, and he said the same exact thing. He was like, I was really interested in comedy.
Yep.
And then the band thing just kind of happened. He always
That's what
he always
happened.
wanted to be like a really kind of like Andy Kaufman type character, And
Fucking
you
great.
can kind of see that now in like Pussifer and stuff. All the stuff he does.
Yeah,
with that. It's
all his characters that he does
are
too,
really crazy and out there and stuff. Just kind of odd. You never know if he's like messing with you, if it's part of the gig. But it's really interesting. Like that bridge between music and comedy kind of is like right there, just always like teetering on the needle.
I grew up. I'm old. I'm 49. So I grew up with
You're not old, dude.
Well, I'm just saying. I grew up with the original Saturday Night Live. I worshipped John Belushi. I wanted to be John Belushi. Then I worshipped Bill Murray. I loved him in Caddyshack and all that kind of comedy was hitting me. And Fast Times at Ridgemont High and stand up, of course, Cheech and Chong and Carlin. And Richard Pryor, I was like, this is the shit. I want to do this. And San Francisco was a huge comedy town, Grew up in the Bay Area. So you got like Bobby Slayton and Carrie Snow and Alex Bennett. They had a big radio show. So comedy was a boom there. They had the huge San Francisco comedy contest that was big. And Bobcat, I was worshiping Bobcat, all that stuff. So I wanted to do comedy. I just didn't know how to do it. And then, of course, we start playing music, and bam, 25 years went by.
How old were you when the music started?
I started playing music really like when I was 15, 16, high school. I was playing in a band in high school and with some older guys and rolled from then.
Were you pretty much like touring right off the bat, or just like
No,
locals?
I didn't tour for years. At first, it was just keg parties and cutting demos.
Ain't nothing wrong with keg parties.
No,
dude.
those are fucking great. That's how you get a draw.
Yeah.
You play keg parties, and there'd be like 600 people, at a keg party.
This is what you do. I don't want to go hear your band. I don't know you guys. There's going to be beer there.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come hear your band.
No, back then, people loved bands. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, it's 10 kegs in a band. That was a big deal, a band.
Wow, man.
We fucking go and set up and get ready all day. And
That
then
must have been nice.
Just watch hundreds of people show up, take mushrooms and drink, and you'd rock, And you play covers like Judas Priest and AC/DC, and people loved it, man.
Wow.
And it was kind of like you were just kind of the rock star in your neighborhood. Those guys are in a band.
That's sick, dude.
No one even cares now. Those guys are in a band. Oh, cool. Where's the DJ at?
Seriously.
My dad he was talking about like he just went up to some resort and he loves dancing, just like getting out there and like cutting up the rug, whatever you call it. And so him and his girlfriend are hanging out and they're dancing out there by themselves, and there's like some band, is like some rock band, cover band. And they're out there by themselves, and he's like, it was the craziest thing, and there were so many people there, and no one was dancing. We go back to the table. It's like break time for the band. The DJ comes out, and everybody goes on the dance floor. And he's like, I couldn't. It's like, what happened?
Yeah, people don't.
Like, what in the heck
People
happened?
do not dance at rock shows. It's not like the Grateful Dead 60s where you just took acid and twirled around, or even 70s with funk, like all kinds of great shit like Parliament.
How can you not dance
and
to
Earth,
that?
People
Wind, and
like
Fire.
bounce up and down a little bit here and there, but they're not dancing.
Yeah. They're watching the band.
Yeah, the new punk wave kind of stuff that's coming up right now. Actually, it's like recycled punk wave.
Yeah.
But there's some dancing that's going on. Like, we got like the Shady Francos.
Slam
down in
dancing
San
or
Diego.
actual dancing?
Kind of like
Somewhere in between,
like
I'd say.
60s. There's like kind of like bebopping, but it's a little
Yeah.
bit more rowdy. Like there's not really like smoshing or anything, but they're just going, going to town.
I never danced. I never got into it. It was just.
Nah, I can't
and
dance,
what's
dude.
weird is I was recently in the last year or so when I'm at a concert watching a band. That even seems weird to me now, where you're just standing in a spot watching them play songs that you own already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, I mean, you get into it. Like, if the band's incredible, you kind of go to another place, you know.
Yeah.
But you're just kind of like, all right, they're playing this one. Yeah, now this one, and you're just looking at them play it.
Missed a guitar line. All right, nice job. Nice job.
Yeah, right. It's crazy, man.
So did your like experiences with, like, us touring or playing in music and just, I mean, if you're a musician for a year, you just gotta like, you have the craziest stories. Like, if you've been doing music for just 1 year, you're gonna just blow your mind. So did that fuel like any of your comedy? I mean, it had to have, right?
Well,
I mean,
Mike, I like to approach the comedy in the same kind of way I would approach music, which is like, once I started really getting into music, I got into stuff like, where bands just kind of don't know where they're going to go. Not jam hippie bands, but kind of like Black Crowes or say Mother Hips or something, where it's like a journey.
Yeah.
And I kind of like to take comedy like that in the last year. I don't really set up a set list or anything. I go on and I look around. I know the bits inside and out, so I can look around at the room and then whatever triggers the next bit does. I like that. And it feels a little dangerous and less robotic. And I enjoy that because for the first few years I was like, I start here and I end there, and that's the closer, and if anything happened, you'd get thrown off and it would fuck you up and it'd be terrible. But now it's like, let's see what happens. Yeah, I like that.
That is awesome, dude.
For somebody, I used to actually run sound for his shows, then when he would come to San Diego. And for somebody that had to watch your set like 4 or 5 times over the weekend, it was rad to see that. As opposed, most comedians, I'm like, all right, I've heard the same fucking set like 5 times now. Yours is different every time, which is rad.
I always tell the host, I'm never gonna close on the same stuff. So if you hear a bit from the first night, don't think that's the closer every night. It could be the opener tomorrow, and I enjoy that. I remember Louis C.K. said he likes to open with his closer and then see where you can go from there. Your biggest joke when you're writing new stuff. And I was like, oh, that's fucking crazy, Yeah. But
dangerous.
It's a challenge, and I like to do that now.
Yeah.
Open up with your biggest joke and see if you can get the other stuff to rise up to it. It's fucking hard, and another problem when you're not running a set list, this happens a lot to me, and it's really dangerous, is you start thinking you did the bit already.
Oh, no.
Because there's no order. I have no order. So if I do, when you're on the road, you do 2 shows a night, sometimes 3. Recently I was out with Dalia, and we did 3 on a Saturday because they're all sold out. And you start a bit and you go, fuck, I think I did this already. That is the weirdest feeling.
Yeah.
And you haven't, but you just think, like...
You did like 40 minutes ago, though.
Yeah, right. You
like,
did 40 minutes
so
ago,
familiar.
so it's in your mind, you know? That's scary as shit.
That's God, dude. I never even thought about that. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's
just thinking about that scares me.
You should do that with your shows, dude. Just play a fucking random order of songs.
Just see if I do it.
Yeah.
I have before because
you should, dude.
I should. That'd be crazy.
It's so fun.
I'll do it.
It takes the robot out of the road.
Yeah.
Because, man, I remember what happened was, this is really what happened. I was out with Ian Edwards, who's one of my favorite comedians. If you don't know him, look him up. He has a great record out right now that Conan O'Brien put out. And he wrote on Two Broke Girls. He also wrote on Blackish. He wrote on Saturday Night Live.
Open a new tab and go check him out.
Yeah.
Right
you know
now.
the deal, guys.
Yeah. Incredible comedian. So I was on the road with him. We were in Vegas. And when you go to Vegas, you do 14 shows.
Damn.
You do Monday through Sunday, 2 a night.
Jeez.
So about the 3rd night, he came up to me and he goes, hey, man, what are you doing up there? I go, what do you mean? And he goes, you're doing the same set every night. He's like, we're in Vegas, 14 shows. Take some fucking chances. And I was like, I was just trying to do good so I didn't make you look bad, because he picked me. He goes, I don't give a fuck. Go up there and rock it. And from then on out, I started just wherever I go.
That's
rad.
awesome, man.
Yeah, I love it. It's going to be tough when you shoot a special because you kind of want to be locked in. But I was thinking, what if I shoot a special? You do 2 shows usually when you shoot it.
Yeah.
1 at 8, 1 at 10. Totally 2 different sets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just pick one that was great.
Yeah.
Or what? Or how about put a special out that wasn't that great? You just go, that's what happened that night.
Yeah.
You know, Dice did that on the day the laughter died. Dice put out a thing where he went to a club in New York and just tried stuff and new stuff and it wasn't working. And they put it out.
Cool.
That shit's cool. It's art.
That's kind of part of his shtick, though, is being like difficult, though. You know,
Right.
so it works for him. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying if you get off a format of comedy, it seems to me right now every week on the billboard there's a new Netflix special all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Every fucking week.
They're really hitting the stand up right now, like really
right.
hard.
And I want to put a special on Netflix, but I'm thinking, boy, it's got to be completely different. You know?
You would kill it though, dude.
Well, it's not about that. It's about having something different, so people don't go, here's another special with your name behind you, and you're in this city, and you know.
Give them something to talk about. Something like, dude, did you fucking see Dean Del Rey's special? That shit was crazy. Yeah.
So we're gonna try to do something different. We've got some ideas, and
are you allowed to spill any of those beans now?
Well, I don't want to talk about it because we were supposed to start June 7th, and then we ran into some difficulties, and now we'll see. You know, on where we're going to shoot it. But the original idea is me riding around America on my motorcycle doing comedy, and then you see the special at the end.
That's so cool, man.
So we'll see. I don't know. I just keep working. This biz is so fucking weird.
We should do a song together.
Yeah, man.
We should rock a song together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do it.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah.
That'd be so wicked sick, man.
I'm in, man. I'm into doing anything. I just enjoy doing art, you know?
Absolutely.
I think at this age, I'm like 32 years now on stage. I'm like, I'll do anything. Let's do it. It's fun. As long as it's not shitty.
Exactly.
You know, like I'm not going to do some guy's backyard sketch at 8 in for, you know.
You got to pay for your own gas,
put some
too.
work into the sketch.
Yeah.
You know?
We wrote half of it, dude. Can you fill in the rest of the stuff, please?
Oh, man.
Do you still play like musical gigs at all?
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, I'm 100% comedy. I did music 25 years. I do that show with Brendan Smalls and Steve Agee called Baked, and I love that. It's over at the Baked Potato, and that's with Zappa players. That's how I met those Mike Keneally and stuff. But they've got a band at Baked, and they do it once a month, and you come down, you do 20 minutes of comedy, and then you sing a song you love.
That's rad.
Yeah, and last week was Jack Black. A month ago it was Zach Galifianakis. Mark Maron and I did it with Tom Papa and the Sklar brothers. So it's really cool, man.
That is awesome.
So that I get off on that because the band is fucking pro.
Yeah.
I walk in and we lay down.
And it's just an honor to work with those dudes too.
Yeah. And they just play great. There's no gear to set up. I walk in, I sing. So last time I did Let There Be Rock, AC/DC.
That is sick, dude.
Good,
Very
man.
sick.
Fun.
Very
cool, rad.
man.
Do you come down for Comic-Con at all?
Yeah, I do a show every year with Red Band at the American Comedy Co.
That's right, yeah.
And they do like a weekend, just take over. It's incredible, man.
Jay and Silent Bob were there last year.
Oh, so good, man. I love a Red Band puts together this great Death Squad weekend, and we'll do a live podcast. We'll do a Comic-Con late show, and it's fantastic. And what's funny is Mike Keneally was telling me, the guitar player from Zappa, that he was going to Comic-Con when it was first new back in the day in some basement of a place.
Dude. Our first episode of this show, we had the founder of Comic-Con on.
He
was telling us about that.
Oh, yeah, Mike Keneally, man, he would go down there, and he's from San Diego.
Yeah.
So he would go down there and just trip. And he said even back then it was like 2,000 people.
Yeah,
it got big
It wasn't
fast,
like 50 nerds, and it was like comics.
I think the first one was like 300, and from there it just like skyrocketed.
He said it was good, man.
What hotel? The Cruise or something?
The Cortez? Cortez something?
El Cortez?
Yeah, like in the basement of some seedy hotel.
He was talking about it,
I've met Mike a couple times at Mike Keneally at Double Time Studios, actually. Super, super rad dude.
Yeah, he's so good.
We played on the... pretty sure we both played on the tribute album to Barry Lewis Pulsar.
Oh yeah.
He was on there. I was on there with Jeff. I played guitar on a track, and I played piano on a track, and that was the first time I met him. And dude, super rad dude, like total like
so
really cool hippie like kind of attitude, but just like really nice dude.
You know, Zappa was the first band he played in.
That's insane.
That is totally
fucking
insane.
crazy. I mean, he had a little shitty cover band that played a couple gigs in bars and stuff, but Zappa was the first band he played in.
Wow,
and imagine, if you listen to my podcast, Let There Be Talk, check out the Mike Keneally episode, because the story of him, how he got in Frank Zappa's band, will make your fucking head spin. Zappa used to have a phone number you could just call. It was 818-PUMPKIN. And you could just call like, hey, is Frank Zappa going to be touring tomorrow or next year or whatever? And guys would call back like, Frank is not going to be touring, whatever, you know? You could leave messages.
Yeah.
That's
So
so
he
cool.
had heard that Frank was looking for put a new band together.
What year is this, by the way?
I don't know, whenever Steve Vai left, 80s, you know?
Yeah. After apostrophe or something.
And he said, I heard Steve Vai left, and I know all your songs, so I'd like to audition. And the next day, a guy called, and you got to take in mind, there's no cell phones or whatever. They're calling his home. He happens to be home. He answers it, and they go, please hold for Frank. And he's like, and Frank gets on and goes,
you know my songs.
I understand you know all my songs. And he's like, yes, I do. And he goes, do you understand how many songs that is? And he goes, yes, I do. He's all, I don't believe you. Be here tomorrow at 3 p.m. and play these 2 songs. And he named 2 songs. So he practiced them all night. And
That's so rad.
He said he showed up. Guitar, no case. Looked like a meth head. Just a guitar, no case. Walked in, and Frank, he said it was Coppola's old sound hanger over on Gower or whatever. And he walked in, and Zappa was at the other end. And he came in, and he's like, plug in, let's hear. So he played them both, and then he asked him to play one more song out of his head. He's all, that was all perfect except one bad note. Wow. And he goes, I'll see you tomorrow. Rehearse with the band. And so then he rehearsed with the band, and then he got the gig.
How old was he at the time?
Fuck, I can't remember. But
He was 13.
Listen to the podcast. It's great.
That's freaking crazy, man.
Really cool.
That's super cool.
Do you remember what songs they were?
I don't because I did the episode like a month ago. And I do so many podcasts I can't remember.
Yeah.
But they were like really intricate, tricky songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he said then he got hazed for a while by Scott Tunis, who's the bass player.
Nice.
Like, who are you? I'm the new guitar player. We'll see about that. That kind of stuff, you know.
That's good for you though, dude. It builds character.
That's what I say, like the Whiplash teacher.
Yeah.
I say I would take that teacher over any kind of like, good job when you're eating dicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want that Whiplash teacher. You got to man up. This shit is brutal out here.
Yeah.
Hollywood or the music business.
Yeah.
I just had a woman on my podcast today, Holly Knight. She wrote like 50 hit songs. She did Simply the Best for Tina Turner. You Better Be Good to Me. She wrote Ragdoll for Aerosmith. She wrote for Kiss.
Damn.
All these
Wow.
80s groups. And we were saying like how, you know, people are just soft. Like if you went like, that sucks, they're like, oh, bully, and they run home.
And cry about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is cool to be that way when you're like 15.
No, that's not even cool the way
then
that
you gotta
when you're
grow up
15
a
though,
little
dude.
bit.
Well, you can't have dicks all your life.
Yeah.
Or else you just be like, this is shit. You got to have cool people. Like in comedy, I had Burr and Marin that kind of took me under their wing.
That's rad.
And Ian, you know. But if everyone was dicks, you'd be like, this atmosphere sucks. I got to get out of here. Too much negative. You have to have some positive, but you do need negative to understand that you're not good.
Yeah.
It's not being mean. You're just not. I'm not good yet. I know that, but I can do the stuff. I'm getting there. You know. You just got to understand it.
You also have to have that mindset though. Like we kind of talk about that all the time. Like people who, you know, they just take something and if they just give up so quick.
Yeah,
you know, they just don't have the mindset to just. It's almost like you don't really have the passion for it. You might think you have the passion for it. You might think you love it, but if you're not,
Or maybe your softness like overrides your passion for it.
I think it's
know,
ADD, man. I think it's a texting world. They've proved that texting touches the same dopamines as cocaine and heroin. It gets you high.
Wow.
And I think that's why people just text. Yeah, they'll send. They've proven that people will just send text out. They're addicted. You know, like, hey, they don't get a text for a while, so they're like, hey, what's up to people? But I think it's
I'm coming down.
World, right? They're like, I did comedy for a few minutes. I didn't get famous. Now I'm trying to, I'm trying to podcast, and now I'm going to be a singer. You know, now I'm DJing. Yeah. They're just looking for fame.
And I'm hugely successful, so
if they're looking for fame, you've already failed.
Yeah.
You know, to me, the second I did comedy, I was like, oh, should have been doing this all my life.
Yeah.
But not real. I mean, really, if I started when I was young, I wouldn't, you know.
You wouldn't appreciate it.
I'm kind of glad I started when I did.
I mean, and also, what happens when you get that fame? What happens if you go into the game looking for fame? What happens when you get it?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, cool. You're done. You know, because there's nothing really like.
Well, you just want more and more and more at that point, right?
Exactly.
Like people that are hungry for money are just like, I want to get richer and richer and richer.
And I don't mean to like bring this guy up or anything, but Justin Bieber,
don't throw him under the bus.
I don't want to piss him off. No, but he said something recently. It was like a few months back, and the only reason I saw it is because I was checking out, and it was like on a Rolling Stone, or it was on some magazines, and it says, there's a quote from Justin Bieber, and he said, you know, I'm getting older, and it looks like I'm going to try to take a break from music. And it just pissed me off, because I'm like, dude, if you're a real musician, like, you don't ever take a break from music.
Stones haven't taken a break.
There's no, I mean, you cannot go on tours, you can say, hey, I'm going to do something else with my life, but you don't take a break. If you're really passionate and if you're really in love with something, you don't take a break from it. You know, it might change. The art form might change slightly into something else.
You do different stuff, but you're still in music. You could be in the studio for a couple years. Like, I'm going to make a weird Pet Sounds record. Or you could, go on a solo acoustic tour if you knew how to play instruments. Or you could put together some kind of weird abstract band. That's why I love like Josh from Queens of the Stone Age. Mm-hmm. He'll do desert sessions. He'll do Queens. You know, he had Caius. He had, whatever he's doing. He did that band with John Paul Jones, the Crooked Vultures. Oh, yeah. Whatever. You do different flavors of stuff. That's why I like comedy, because there's no real rules. I might just do all crowd work one night. Yeah. Fuck it, let's try that,
What's the lead singer of Stained? What's his name?
Oh, yeah, he does country now.
Doesn't he?
Aaron, I forget his last name.
Thompson or something like that?
Aaron something, but yeah.
So, again, not like the biggest Stained fan by any means, but when they broke up and they're like, yeah, we're done, all that stuff, it was only a couple months, and he was out there by himself going on tour with an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, with the biggest hit ever.
So much, just going out, just doing it. He was like, you know what, screw it. Like, I don't even need a band. I just want to make, he has a band now.
Yeah.
But he just went out, it was a few months went by. He's like, I love music, man. I'm going to keep playing. And to me, it's like, you know what, I have respect for that. I might not totally, be on board with all their songs or whatever, but dude, that just means that he's doing what he loves.
Same with the guy, what's his name, Whitey Ford, the dude from House of Pain or whatever. Remember he had that?
Yeah.
The Everlast?
Yeah, Everlast.
Is it Everlast?
He
had another one too, didn't he?
That was a huge hit, man.
Yeah, it was giant.
I
remember actually
two groups.
The X Games in 1998. One of his band members was handing out demo tapes of that song. Wow. I was like, "This is fucking awesome!" And I listened to it on the ride home in the cassette player.
That's
and then
a great
months
song.
later, it was on the radio. I was
Whitey
like, nice.
Ford or whatever. That was a good record.
Whitey
man.
Ford sings the blues.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Good record.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff. There's guys out there that, I don't like Hootie and the Blowfish at all. But
That's controversial words, dude.
Sold 40 million records.
Yeah. There's a reason for that.
Okay, whatever.
I'm not a fan either,
whatever.
Yeah.
People, that's songwriting. Like I had the woman on today. Songs grab people. There's records over our time that have been huge. Mm-hmm. Springsteen, Born in the USA. Hootie and the Blowfish, Cracked Rearview Mirror. Creed. Whatever. They're all band. Nickelback.
Oh God.
But they all somehow touched all kinds of people in America. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, if the guys keep playing after, They really, I mean, because they've got so much money now, they can just tap out. But that guy, Darius Rucker, now he's got a country career.
Yeah.
And the country songs are in the top 10. He had a #1 hit.
And he doesn't even have to try
He
anymore.
doesn't need to play at all. That guy could just buy Detroit and go, I own Detroit now.
Well, like,
everyone
I could
get
buy
out.
Detroit,
This is
but-
my, I'm just saying.
We could all put our money together and buy Detroit right now. And
I was thinking a good idea would be if you made a bunch of money, say you're Dave Chappelle, and you just bought Detroit, and you go, we want to be out of the USA. This is Dave land now. And we got laws. Weed's cool, cocaine's cool. Just don't rape or kill, and everything else is fucking cool. Right? Yeah. It's your
agree,
own
dude?
state.
all right.
Oh, yeah. It's your
Getting
own
some love
state.
for the
You know what I
shirt.
mean?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
wouldn't
we
someone do that if they were rich as fuck? Like,
They get like bombed or
That's
something,
what
probably, right?
You just get your own island, dude. That people do.
Yeah.
yeah, but this is fucking in the States.
It's hard to
where
populate
you
that
could just
island,
Go
though.
You're
places.
protected,
Island,
yeah.
you got to fucking go far.
Yeah.
I read about a guy that was making a town that was only motorcycles.
That's
yeah,
rad.
It's out there.
I'm into that.
And you can only have a motorcycle. There's no cars. How cool is that?
I'm
So it's
super into
bicycles, motorcycles.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, right.
Iron Man's
Guy
leaving us.
just took a robot apart.
Yeah, dude.
Just
taking it-
assembled a robot.
Welcome to Meltdown, ladies and
Yeah, I
gentlemen.
wish you guys could have seen
Oh,
that.
which, by the way, I'm going to be here. This airs next week. I'll be doing
Yeah.
the Meltdown show June 3rd here.
Heck
Rad.
yeah. June 30th?
June 3rd.
June 3rd. Cool.
Yeah, which is
Check
like
it out.
a few days after this airs.
Yeah.
Word.
Very cool,
Like
man.
2 days. And I've been waiting a couple years. It's like an honor to do that show.
Yeah, we
I
saw
love
you
that.
here last time. That's
Yeah.
why we bumped into each
Yeah,
other and why
yeah.
we're doing this now.
I love that show. It just feels like old school rock and roll to me. It really feels like when I grew up in the Bay Area, Bill Graham was the huge concert promoter, and he would put like Miles Davis and then Zeppelin and then, Cheech and Chong on a show.
Super into that, yeah.
And that's how that room feels to me. It doesn't feel, of course, it's a format of what they call alt comedy, but I don't look at that because I see
Yeah.
all kinds of. But there's different flavors in there, man.
Yeah. Are you anti-categories, dude?
Yeah, I don't
Hell
go
yeah.
categories at all. I really don't.
I hate that,
I just, I mean, if you were going to look at an alternative comic, that would be me, a guy who started at 44. There's nothing more alternative than that. Just give up your whole life and start comedy.
Why not, though?
Open mics at 44.
And that's what
That's
bugs
rad.
me. It's why not?
Yep.
Because people would be like, oh, and not to take anything away from you, that's awesome that you did that at 44, but it's like, I feel like people should just be able to do whatever the heck they want to do.
I don't
at
get
any
why they
time.
don't.
And people are
I
like,
mean,
oh,
they're
that's
so afraid,
cool,
you know?
Or, oh, what does that person think they're doing? Or, oh, wow, good for them. It's like, yeah, good for them, but it should be good for anybody. Like,
Yeah, people
just do what you want to
they
do.
get weighed down by debt. Once
Yeah.
they get credit card debt, they'll never do anything because they're like, I got these bills. What bills? Rent? Everybody has rent.
Yep.
And then what? A car payment, gas, food? We all have that. You're talking about you've got these bills, which means debt from these cards. When you went into, you got a $10,000 limit, and you went down and you got a 50-inch plasma screen, and then you bought a new couch and 10 pairs of shoes, and then one night you bought a round of drinks on it, and your card's full at 18%, and
Yeah.
every month you're paying the minimum on it. You got to get rid of that debt because everything else isn't debt. It's just called life.
yeah.
Rent, food, and gas is life.
Yep.
So get rid of the debt and then go for your dream. That's what I say. And they say, oh, it's easy to say get rid of your debt. I mean, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Get 2 jobs, figure it out, get rid of that shit. Sell everything in your house, start over. You know?
Amen, brother.
Sell your kids to slavery. Do what you got to do.
Those kids to work, man. You got any kids? You don't got kids. do you?
No, man. If I had kids, I wouldn't be doing comedy.
That's the other thing, man. A lot of people have
44, yeah,
kids.
kids, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. It's kids. I left that part out. A lot of people have kids. But once those kids grow up, you can really go
Yeah.
for it again.
Yeah.
You tell the kids, hey, I'm doing comedy now. I'm a painter.
Dude, you could come back at 67, dude.
You
Fuck
come
yeah.
back at
64.
whatever age.
Hell yeah.
64, dude.
Hell yeah,
Look
man.
to it.
Whatever your dream is, just go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. There's speaking of, I mean, it's kind of crazy. We're talking about a lot of common things right now, but where I met Mike, actually, I was in the same studio I met Mike. There was this jazz musician, and he was from New York. And for the life of me, I cannot remember his name. I was a session bass player on his.
You smoke a lot of weed?
Me, no.
Oh, no?
Everyone asked me that.
Well, you got bad memory then. How old are you?
26, 27.
I quit
yeah.
caffeine about a month ago, and my memory is fire.
Really?
Oh my God, it's so good right now.
Yeah, I need to work.
All right.
I need to get some like ginkgo biloba.
I might
or
do that.
something,
Get
but-
like E3 Live and wheatgrass and shit. E3 Live's an algae to fire up your memory.
We need
You ever
to
had
have for a day.
lion's mane
No, but
fungus? I hear about that stuff from
I go
memory, too.
E3 Live. It's like an algae from some place up in Portland, like a lake. It's fucking great.
From E3 Lake.
Yeah,
Sounds like
I
a
don't
game
know.
development company.
Yeah.
You gotta try it though, man. Again, your
I'll
memory
do it.
will be fucking
I'm
on.
down.
I'll do it. But yeah, there's this jazz musician and guitar player, and he came in, and he was in his like late 60s, dude, and just this guy had like 20 something albums, you know, and like they did okay. I mean, he'd been like scraping by, and this last album he did was pretty popular. So he was in the studio. He came out here to San Diego to do another album, and we finished up the album. And I was talking to like his son was there and stuff, and he was just like, "I'm so proud of my dad." Like his son is like in his 30s or something
Yeah.
like that, you know. And he's just like, "I'm so proud of my dad. Like I grew up and just saw him like busting his butt like his whole life." And he's 60. He was 60 something. He's like finally doing it. Like he went over to be on that BBC show late night with
Craig Ferguson?
Craig Ferguson,
Yeah.
yeah, and he was doing all this crazy stuff, and it's just like, dude, that's what it's all about, man. You know, he just didn't give it. Like, that is passion, you know?
Well,
Like,
that's
he didn't
like all
give
the
up.
comedians we love. Every one of them, CK, 25 years, Maron, 25 years, Burr, 20 years. That's 20 real years. That's not like...
That's real years,
Before
dude.
they
That's a quarter of the
you gotta
average
think
life,
CK
yeah.
up until 2006, that's really what I think the Chewed Up or whatever the...
What really launched it? Was it Louis or was it his stand? Like, what?
It was that stand-up special, that one that he shot at the
Hilarious?
Fonda, that one with the awesome possum bit, and you know that. But I mean, you know, those guys, they just stayed in the trenches. Like,
What do you think
what
it-
else
what
are
do
they
you think
gonna
it
do?
is?
You know?
What do you think it is, though? Like, what do you think? Because I have my own theories on like why musicians, what sparks it after a while, like in the music scene. But like, what do you think? Like in the comedy realm, what happens to where someone's like, oh my gosh, like you got to hear this comic? Like, how come you didn't do that 25 years ago?
Well, you know, somebody, I think it was either Burr or CK. I think it might have been Burr, but they described it awesome. You're around forever. So there's guys like before you, let's say Eddie Murphy and all those guys. They're here and you're way down here. And then they move up and they do movies and go out. Then the next launch of guys, you got like Stephen Wright, you got, you know, all those, did that era of guys, Seinfeld and all that. And then they move up and go out on the TV and stuff. And eventually, after 20 years or so, all of a sudden you're the top guy. You know what I mean? And I go, I guess you're the guy now. You know, that's how they were describing it. Like, because people move on and stop doing comedy
And a
and they
lot of
do
people,
movies,
yeah.
TV, or whatever. And one day people go, hey, this guy's funny as fuck. You know what I mean? Because the pool of comedians, he's rose up to the top of the pool, you know? And I think that's what
Just
it is.
time? So pretty much just time?
Time and,
Time
also
efficiency?
it's
Being good, obviously.
being
Oh, yeah,
great.
of course,
Yeah.
of course.
And then also you got the internet. People are passing around bits now. Like, oh, look at this guy, Burr. He's killing it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it goes viral around work and shit, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's what happened to Russell Peters. He said he had a special and they cut it up. And it was the first year of YouTube. So his bits were on there like... Mexican people do this, Indian people do this, white people do that, and each group of ethnicities passed it around there in emails. Like,
Wow,
look at this
that's
guy,
so
man.
cool.
This is a funny joke. Early
That's
YouTube.
smart, man.
Yeah.
Really, really smart.
So that shit hit fire.
Yeah, that always blows my mind. Like when you see stuff like that happen, and for those who, and I'm not trying to like dog anybody, but for those who like just see the surface and they just accept it, like, oh, this guy's big now, cool, like I'm adding them to my list of comedians. But then there's like, for me, I'm always kind of like, I get more into like the background stuff and how stuff works.
Oh yeah.
And so I kind of do my research. I'm like, wow, this guy's been around forever. Like, how?
Oh
am
yeah,
I
you
just
look
now
at the
hearing
date
about
of the
him,
video, like on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it would be 88. And you're like, probably weren't even alive.
That's the year we were born. Yeah.
Right, so you're going like, this guy was doing comedy. Here's like, if you Google or YouTube Louis C.K., you'll see shit from 85 or something. And he's got a blazer on. He looks like a totally different man, full head of hair. He's doing jokes about dolphin sounds and stuff. And you're like, that's the same guy? You know, and eventually you find your voice and you find your, I'm a big thing of brand. People like I like that guy's brand, his voice, his flavor, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And those people eventually keep coming around telling other people, and, you know, hopefully it builds.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Jim Carrey. He's like,
Awesome.
I grew up with
he
his movies.
crushed that
and stuff.
David Letterman
Oh my gosh,
top
man.
10. He crushed it.
It was
with
insane.
that face.
Yeah, dude.
Instant genius. You're like, there he is. Come on, come back out.
Dude, and I watched his. It was in high school. I watched his Jim. I think it was just called Jim. I think it was called The Jim or something like that. And it was from like 82 or 83 or something. And it was this comedy that it was just stand up, just him.
Yeah.
And really low budget. There was like 2 frames. There was like a close up and then one far away. And you can watch the whole hour and a half special on YouTube. And I watched it and I'm like, this guy is insane.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is absolutely, and I already loved him. I mean, I was already a huge fan, but I'm like, no, like, and it was years after that he actually started getting popular. I mean, I'm like, how was this not just an instant viral thing for whatever that time was?
Takes a while. Well, back then
like,
you didn't have YouTube and shit, so if you didn't see it, you didn't see it. You know? Maybe you have to catch it on a late night rerun. Like, whoa, who's that guy? You don't just fire it. Like right now, we could just fire that up.
Yeah.
Back then, if you weren't fucking programming your VCR, which most people didn't even know how to do, and you didn't have a tape of it, how did you see it? You
or
know?
like HBO, like if you didn't have cable. And
Right.
There's a lot of comedy specials on HBO.
I mean, it's weird. Back then, you had to see it, and if you didn't see it, they had to go do something again on TV, and hopefully you caught it. You know how fucking hard that is? First, you gotta get funny, then you gotta get on TV, and then you gotta hope the people are watching that station that night. You're like, oh yeah, I saw that guy. But I mean, I really remember him from In Living Color. He would crush that fucking show.
He made the show.
The Fireman.
I mean,
him and Wayans with that 2 snaps and Handyman and shit. All that stuff you couldn't do now
Wasn't
on
there
TV.
a bit that he had on there that turned into a movie? It's the one Jim Carrey movie I've never seen where he's like an alien or something. Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen it, but I think that was a bit on.
It's worth a watch, dude.
Yeah. Like he played like an alien and turned into a movie or something.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
That's a great
it's
movie.
a fucking masterpiece.
And I love how Jim Carrey. I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a Jim Carrey rant right now.
That's
how
great,
everyone was like hating on him, like, oh, Jim Carrey thinks he can do drama now, and he was like, oh yeah, watch this,
Shit,
and just
that thing
crushed
smoked.
it, dude.
Most comedians are way better at doing drama.
Because you have to be so many people on stage. People don't understand. Like you're putting on an entire movie, an entire cinematic experience.
Yeah.
Just you. I mean, you're the people you're talking about in your skits. You're doing the faces.
Yeah.
You're driving the cars. You're reenacting these situations that you've lived in your life. Like you are a movie. You know.
I love the one film where he had the sons.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember that one? Where
crap.
he does the Clint Eastwood. Go ahead. His face stretches all out. What's that one called? He's got 3 kids. And I think they're black kids, right?
Yeah.
Me, Myself, and Irene. Yeah.
Oh, that shit is
fucking
funny
love
as
that
fuck,
movie.
dude. That film.
movie's great.
That was just insane. What was this 2 character like? Oh man. They like you never knew which one you had. Like he was like messing with that chick.
Yeah.
That was such a great film, man.
Just
such
a genius,
funny
man.
film. Pet Detective was great. The first one. The guy's a genius. He started at the Comedy Store. That's where I go on pretty much 5 nights a week. And it's like an honor to work at the Comedy Store. You know, my name's on the wall.
Wow.
It's insane.
Congratulations, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man. And it's I mean, you know, like when I was young in 88, 89, I hung at the Comedy Store. Not once was I thinking, oh, I'm going to be here one day.
Yeah.
My name will be on the wall. Back then I was deep in music. I was just there drinking and getting high, you know, and watching comedy. But I wasn't thinking like, yep, that's going to be me when I'm 49. I'll be in there.
Roll up on my motorcycle.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
That's rad.
It's fucking crazy world, man. Crazy world.
So is that your dream scenario, is to become, have that be your trajectory, to start doing movies, start doing TV shows?
No, man. I want to be, I want to just be able to work. Really, my dream would be to cruise around America in a tour bus and just do theaters.
Yeah.
Let's go on
That's
tour.
the dream for me. I
That'd
don't
be
give
awesome.
a fuck about
That'd be rad.
movies.
Let me write some funny songs and I'll open up for you, dude.
There you go. I have to. I mean, if you do movies, you can get bigger in TV. But it's not my dream. I don't really care about getting famous. I just care about working.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I mean?
doing cool
Yeah,
stuff.
and you have to make money to
Fuck
do what you want to do. That's like the thing.
I want to
that's
do
like,
comedy, man. You know, I've done some movies. You sit down at the set all day, and then the movie comes out a year later and doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, I did a Tarantino film. I did a Ice Cube movie. These are huge movies no one saw. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
With comedy, it's me. And the rush of it, of walking on, and there's all strangers in the house, and you're getting them to laugh. There's nothing like that.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Complete
awesome.
stone faces 1 minute, and the next minute they're laughing. You're like,
Or
they
if-
don't even know you.
Or when they're ready to hate you too is the best, dude. Like,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, I always get that.
Oh,
They're
man.
like, oh, who's this guy?
I love that, dude. It gets me amped up, man. I'm like, all right, I gotta bring it tonight because
Yeah.
you know people are gonna be like, you can tell, dude, like I'm setting up my equipment. They're just like,
I've seen it, yeah.
yeah, you know,
I've seen it
there's
at
like-
both your guys'
They're
shows.
just
yeah.
like dog, and they're just like, oh, what does this guy
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
he is? And you're just like, check this out.
Yeah. I
So-
love tour buses.
Mm.
I spent a lot of time on them. There's something about rolling around America in a pirate ship. It's like a submarine, man.
It is.
Yeah.
You're inside this bus, and you're stopping in cities, and you're bringing some love to that city, man. People, they've got jobs they don't like. They got people, they're dating people they don't like or whatever. And you come in and you take them from that, and then you get on that submarine and roll to the next city.
Yeah.
It's great. And also, I've been around the world because I worked with the Stones, and also I played music, so I've been everywhere. America's cool as fuck. People are like, yo, it's cool you went to Europe. And it's like, nah, man, go check out America.
America's
it is
awesome.
badass, man.
dude.
You know, I'm not talking about the Walmarts and shit. I'm talking about the back roads of like, look at this guy. He's a glass blower. Then you're in another city. This guy makes bubble gum. Like
Yeah.
weird shit you see.
Every time I go to Phoenix, Arizona, there's this. I have to play at this venue. It's called the Rogue Bar. It's in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
And I love that bar. It's a really small place, but that was my first show where it was just packed.
Yeah.
And every time I go there, it's packed, and people just come out to hear music. And it makes me, it kind of, what we were talking about earlier, like, it kind of reminds me of, like, what it must have been like, you know, back in the day. Because it's
Yeah.
like, people just come out, like, they don't know me. Like, they're not fans. They're not like, oh, let's go see, you know, that dude. It's just like, they're just, hey, let's hear some music tonight. You
Yeah,
know?
some beers and check out some
and
jams,
they're ready
dude.
to have
yeah.
a good time. Like, they're so positive, and everyone's like, I'm always stoked when I go to Phoenix. People are like, oh, you like Phoenix? And I'm like,
Yeah,
check it
yeah.
out sometime. It's
There's
freaking
a bunch
awesome.
of places like that.
Yeah.
I did Missoula, Montana with Wallflowers. I was on tour with the Wallflowers for 10 months. I opened.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a theater there. The myth is, which I later read, and it wasn't really true, or maybe it is true. I don't know. But that's where David Lynch is from. Or not from. He lived there for a while. They say he wrote Blue Velvet out there. I don't know. I Wikipedia'd and I can't remember. But this theater is this ornate, like really beautiful old theater right in town. And Missoula is where they did River Runs Through It, that Brad Pitt
Yeah.
fly fishing.
Yeah.
It's this small town community. We rolled in, we sound checked, the doors opened, and the entire town came. and to see their faces of just like
Just stokedness, man.
So glad you came to Missoula. Everyone skips us and goes to there's another big city up there, not big, but in Montana. I forget what the other city's called.
That's where they have the annual fair.
Yeah. But they say
Big time.
people always skip Missoula, and I was like, I would never skip this town, man. The feeling you get. There's no one texting. There's no one like talking. They're there for the event.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, and it's just beautiful.
It is.
It is gorgeous up there.
Yeah, it is, man.
That's cool.
So what I'm saying is there's Phoenixes all over.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you just got to know where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who are from Portland, I'm not trying to dog you. Please, I'm not trying to sound negative. But I heard the same thing from Portland. When I went up to Portland, I was like, oh, you're going to love it. It's going to be crazy. And it was awesome. You guys are rad. But it didn't have the same thing that I got in Phoenix. I mean, like, I think Portland, people knew I was coming, so they came, and that was super sweet. Phoenix, they had no idea who I was, and they came because they just wanted to. And it was just different because I'm just like, thank you guys. Like, I'm glad I'm sharing this with you and not playing to like 4 people right now, you know? Like, this is so sick.
Man, that gets a little rough, you know? It's touring is what people don't understand, man, is as a comedian or a musician or whatever, it's so hard to get butts in the seats now.
Yeah.
You're competing with the internet where people just stay home. You're competing with film, movies.
Competing with YouTubers now.
You're competing with 1,000 channels on satellite.
Yep.
You're competing with satellite
Video
radio,
games,
whatever, anything.
Netflix.
So it gets rough out there, and the thing I keep telling, and I've been stressing this. I read an article and I talked about it on my podcast. This guy did an article where he said if you had 1,000 true fans, 1,000, which doesn't sound like nothing, you could make a living for the rest of your life as a musician. Because what he figured is 1,000 true fans, and this is how he breaks down a true fan. The second you put a shirt on for sale, they buy one. The second a ticket goes on sale, they buy one. Your DVD, your CD, whatever. Out of those 1,000 true fans, each one over the year spends about $100. So you make about $100,000 minus expenses, say 60 grand a year, and you can live as a full-blown artist. So you think about it, you go 1,000, that sounds easy. Right now, I'm shooting for 100. 100. If I could get like 2 in each state, that could tell other people this guy's coming. Because if you love something, let's say you love it, your friends are pretty much probably into the same kind of stuff you're into.
Yeah.
If that one guy said, I have like 5 friends, and he brought them to the show, now I have 6 people at the gig.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't sound much.
But if they're buying drinks,
but they just show up.
Yeah.
6. You can't shoot for sellouts. You got to shoot for 10 people at your gig. As sad as that sounds, if you're not a foxy dude that's on TV, you got to figure a way to get people to the gig.
Yeah.
So 1,000 fans. Can you imagine that? How that sounds so easy, right? And it's not.
It's
man.
not at all.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not at
it's
all.
Not
man.
because I'll tell you how I know. I'll put a shirt up. People will go for months. Hey man, you got any shirts? I really want a shirt. How about a shirt? You got any shirts?
I know exactly what you're going to say.
I'll design one, and then I'll do a prepay, like a pre-order.
Yeah.
So I'll put the design up, and on Instagram you'll see 200 people like it. Oh, I want one of those. All right. The buy is tomorrow. $20. Maybe 30 shirts out of the 200. Now, I'm not knocking people. I know they want to just be cool. Like, I like it, and I'll buy one. But really, when you look at it, you go, well, what happened here?
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, that's an interesting article. You can find it. Just Google 1,000 fans artist, and it'll come up. It's awesome.
Very cool.
Chilling.
Want
to get to these bad boys?
It's all you, man.
Let's do these Twitter questions.
We call this Dan's favorite part.
Oh, yeah. Twitter questions. Dude,
No, they're
did you
legit.
get the questions earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, they come
cool.
in. We let them know who's coming on, and they drop us some questions. Okay, his first one is from @ServoCero. Tell him that he is fucking awesome. I can assume that F and a bunch of asterisks is fucking.
Dude, that shit chokes me up when people say that, for real.
Nice,
I'm
man.
not kidding, man.
That's
It's
awesome, dude.
It's so weird because when you're doing comedy and somebody really likes it, like I was saying 1000, when they really like it, you're like, wow, that's fucking cool.
All right, so apparently that is all.
Okay.
But he does have a question. Will we ever get a Hell Ride sequel?
Oh, man. You know, I did a movie called Hell Ride.
Which one was that? Who was that with?
Tarantino produced it. He was supposed to be in it, and at the last minute he backed out. He was going to play the role that Eric Belford ended up playing. A lot of people don't know that. Tarantino was going to be in Hell Ride.
Wow.
Hell Ride is a biker film that was like the third in that Grindhouse series.
Okay.
No one saw it. So the first one was the...
I'm sorry to say
Planet Terror,
I have
right?
not seen it.
Was it Planet
Terror?
Yeah.
The nenext one is Death Proof, which is my favorite.
It's fucking amazing. Yeah.
And
Death
the
Proof is
third
awesome.
one is Hell Ride, and that stars Larry Bishop, who is the son of the famous Rat Pack Joey Bishop, who's Frank Sinatra, Joey Bishop.
Yeah.
What's his name? Sammy Davis. That
Crazy.
pack. Okay. Tarantino loves to find guys like he did with Travolta, or he did with Foxy, that Foxy Brown one. He likes to find people from an old genre and bring them out. So Larry Bishop did all the 60s biker films. Once Easy Rider hit, there was a shitload of, and even before, kind of these shitload of like biker films. They were just about like not Easy Rider, but Wild One, where guys roll into town, they fuck women, and then they fight and they roll out. There's fucking
The good old days.
hundreds of them. You can Google biker films and blow your mind. So Tarantino loved this particular one, and he had a pristine copy. I've never told this story, but he met Larry and goes, I want you to come up to my house. So Tarantino has a full movie theater, a real theater at his house. Like fucking, when you go in, it has the movie posters. It's got a snack bar, a guy working. And Larry was like, wow, this is weird. They sat down and watched a full version of his movie, the popular one. And at the end, he goes, I want to make the best biker film ever. And Larry went home and started writing it, and they made Hell Ride, which I got to work with the absolute god, my favorite guy ever, Dennis Hopper. There's no better actor to me than Dennis Hopper. He worked with Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
He worked with James Dean in 2 films. He worked with John Wayne. He also directed the first great gang movie, Colors. He was in the iconic David Lynch film, Blue Velvet.
Oh, yeah.
There's no one that has worked with that many of the bigs. Anyway, he was in
horror too, like way back in the day. He was in horror films,
right?
Like back in like the early '60s.
But he did the most iconic biker film ever, Easy Rider.
Easy Rider, yeah.
So anyway, he's in it. Larry Bishop, Eric Belford, and which is a side story on Eric Belford for nerds. While we were doing Hell Ride, he had got an email that he was going to audition for Spock.
Wow.
This was back then.
Dang.
He was like, fuck, I'm going to audition for Spock. He didn't get it, but that's a weird inside when you're on a set and he's like, Spock, It's like, whoa, they're making a Star Trek movie? It was all hush hush.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we made the movie, and it made like $4. And the Weinsteins made it, and they were talking a prequel, which I was really fired up for. I was hoping they were going to do. Never happened. So that was a long-winded thing.
But there's some awesome stories.
Great stuff on Hell Ride. So no sequel. I wish. I really wish we could do a biker movie that would be complete gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still don't think there's been a film that's made. You had Sons of Anarchy and stuff, but I'm talking about they're making a Sonny Barger film. They've been talking for years, and I think if Sean Penn played Sonny Barger, it would be the most epic biker film ever.
So
I see the shit out of that. Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, right. Sean Penn is Sonny Barger.
Down. All right, thank you, Servo Zero. Next question is from Fixinia Girl _ Sunny.
FX Naya Girl.
FX Naya Girl. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go with that.
That's what I got. I don't know.
What is your favorite role in the entertainment world? And we kind of touched on that a little bit. I think comedy's the answer for that, right?
Totally. Stand-up comedy. And I've done movies, I've played music, and for sure.
Well, let's get more specific then. Like, what's your favorite type of show to play? Like a small bar, big venue?
Well, I've been doing theaters lately.
Yeah.
With like Maron and Burr and Russell Peters, and man, I love theaters. I mean, I like the Comedy Store, the original room, or Meltdown here. I love that, super small or giant.
Yeah.
The things I don't like are bar shows or shows with 90 dudes on or any of that. You know, too many comics and the crowd's done.
Yep.
But theater, I love the rock and roll of it because I played music so long. It feels rock to me.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing I like about the theater, which is different than a club, is since people paid like 50, 60, $100, the phone is in their bag. They've dressed up. It's a date night. They're there
committed,
for the
dude.
show. There's no check drops. There's no check drink orders. Drink orders bum me out,
Yeah,
man.
they
They're
suck,
loud,
dude.
and it takes you're doing your stuff, and there's shit going on. That's
I
part
never
of
even,
it.
again, another thing I didn't even think about in comedy. That must suck.
It sucks, dude.
It sucks.
It makes
for the
me
people-
cringe as the sound guy in the back. I'm just like,
You're just like
yeah,
about
dude,
to
that
drop your
sucks.
punchline, and then a girl comes up and goes, "Here's your nachos. The hot sauce is in the back," and they're talking loud, and boom,
and they're like
the-
blocking people's view and stuff.
The
Yeah, that
punchline
hurts.
goes and
That
doesn't
hurts.
hit, and you know exactly why it didn't hit.
Because everyone's eyes fucking divert
And
right
drink
there.
orders, and then you know, theater they get their shit in the lobby, some drinks, and then they ring the bell. 5 minutes till showtime. They go in their seats. They're excited. They're ready. And you come on, and it's like, fucking, this place is giant. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I did that Nokia with Russell Peters.
Oh, nice.
7,900
Nice.
people.
Dang,
When you
dude.
hear those people laugh, you go, holy shit.
Yeah, you probably feel it in your body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
That's
awesome,
rad.
man.
Tight. Okay, next one is from Faith Anaya. Are there any comedic genres that bug you or rub you the wrong way? Interesting.
Comedian genres?
Comedic genres.
I mean, I can't knock any person that's trying this. I'm not going to knock them.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
genres that I don't go for. I go for I love two genres. One of them is the super edgy Burr, Maron, CK,
In your face.
Ian Edwards, just real gravelly shit. And the other genre that I absolutely worship would be Johnny Pemberton, Josh Fadem, T.J. Miller.
So like classic.
Not classic. The like outside the box. What the fuck, Roy
That's
Scovel?
what I mean. Yeah. To me, I guess.
Yeah, like Andy Kaufman, I worship. They're
Yeah.
not doing Andy Kaufman. They're doing their own art. But I love when half the room's like, "What the? This guy's not funny at all."
Yeah.
When I hear that, it usually means, "Oh, this guy's fucking great."
Yeah.
And then eventually,
Judah Friedlander's got a pretty good set doing that kind of thing. too.
Judah, same thing. Yeah. So I mean, you know, the guys I named, I've had them all on my podcast, and they're absolutely crushing at it. You
I
know?
love that stuff.
Another guy.
That's like comedy to art right there. That becomes like a performance piece.
That's a
It's
total
awesome.
thing. And
That's
Yeah.
that
Christopher
is
stuff.
so hard to do. I had on each guy, like Pemberton and stuff, and I asked him, like, how do you even start that? Because you have to start at an open mic. And when you go on an open mic and you're committed to being so fucking weird, and everyone at the open mic, it's like a junior high open mic. It's like, this guy's weird. He's
Yeah.
not funny or whatever. You have to stay in that and keep doing it for years. Where jokes get laughs.
Yeah.
You know, at an open mic, if they're funny, they get laughs. But if I see a guy, there was a guy when I started, CC Wright, and he would come on and just do the most fucked up shit, and I'd be like, that guy is great. Nobody else got him. You know what I mean? I was like, he's so good. So I love those two genres, but I don't knock any other genres.
Yeah.
I would never do guitar comedy, which people always ask me because I played music. How come you don't do guitar comedy? And it's like
I don't like song, like it's really
I don't like song. I never
fan.
got into it. To me, I respect music so much that I don't like joke music.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of dick. I'm just like, nah, I love music. I can't
Songs
mix
that can
the two.
genuinely make you laugh that are not intended to be jokes are awesome.
Yeah.
But
There's a couple guys that do it really good, but it was just not for me. It's just not for me because I just
feel you.
loved playing music and I love doing comedy.
cool.
dig it. That's a great question. This is from @GhostIrisDK. What do you like most about the current comic book movies?
You know,
Are you even into comic books or nerdy stuff in general?
I talked to you guys. I love the stoner comics when I was growing up. I like the 70s stuff. I'm way into R. Crumb. If you've never seen the documentary Crumb,
So good.
rent that fucking, or rent it. Go down to Blockbuster and rent that film,
you can rent
kids.
stuff on iTunes now. So.
But R. Crumb, I get into some of that old stuff. Freak Brothers, Fat Freddy's Cat. The stoner comics were so fucking cool to me. I don't read any comics now, but I did love, of course, the Christopher Nolan, the Batmans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
nice.
mean,
those are his masterpieces.
I'm
man.
way
So
into
good.
dark stuff. I love Inception. I think that is a fucking smash film.
Interstellar. Did you check out Interstellar?
That's the only one I haven't seen. You know
It's
what?
really
I
good.
just saw it.
I'm so late. I'm so like I work so much. So if people go like, yeah, it's pretty good,
Dude,
like
I
that-
just saw it like last week. So
Yeah.
it's all
Oh,
good.
really?
Yeah, I just saw it
We
last
can
week.
talk about it now
It
because
was
I've been holding all my comments.
amazing.
but I'm
really good.
way into that stuff.
Have you seen The
and-
Kingsman?
No, I
That's-
I
that
saw
one's
Mad
rad.
Max. I worship Mad Max.
So good.
We gotta show him or Mad Max.
Yeah.
that
So-
Mad
We did a
Max,
parody video of it's like a Mad Max deleted scene parody video.
Oh, that's
We'll show
dope.
it to you when we're
Yeah.
done rolling.
I
yeah.
loved Mad Max, and I loved the original Mad
So
Max.
good.
Not the Tina Turner one, but the first.
Dude, I'm even down for that one.
Yeah, it's all right,
It's
but
kitschy
I mean-
and ridiculous, but I just like the vibe of that. The
I like
world.
the
yeah.
first one, man.
Dude.
After I saw it, I did a thing on my podcast where when I was growing up, everything was Mad Max to me. You know, like I would just say, oh, like all the music, you know, like White Zombie, Guar,
Yeah.
all that shit is, you know, Slipknot influenced by Mad Max.
Oh, yeah.
Road Warrior. These cars they call Murdered Out, Flat Black. I would always, back in the 80s, I'd be like, oh, straight Road Warrior. Look at that guy. Then shredded up dirty leathers and shit. I love that look, like Billy Idol.
Yeah.
He looked Road Warrior. And I always wore dirty leathers and shit. And I love motorcycles. That's my life. I ride every day. So everything about it, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. You know?
Yep.
And I wouldn't even mind being in that apocalyptic world of like, what are we battling for? Fuel? When he eats that lizard at the top, you're like, that motherfucker's hungry. You eating a lizard, you're starving.
Just raw off the ground.
I've been pretty
too.
fucking
Just
hungry.
slurps it up.
Have you ever wanted to eat a lizard?
crunch down on
I used
it,
to
yeah.
get down on like post-apocalyptic movies because I was like, dude, I like the ones I like, and then when someone would like redo it, I'm like, oh come on, it's been done. But here's the thing, I just kind of changed my view a little bit recently because I'm kind of looking at it from more like a positive point of view, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe one of the reasons post-apocalyptic movies are so popular is because it's so easy to agree on something.
Yeah.
There's like
Survival.
Yeah.
There's no religion. There's no like legalities. There's no
It's
like,
all
who do you
about
vote for? It's
being
like, dude,
alive.
it's survival, and like your friends are the ones that are gonna help you survive. Like
Yeah.
and that's it. It doesn't matter
Yep.
what color they are. Like, it's just like your homies are the ones that are like looking out for you and got your back. You know, like
When I watch Road Warrior, I do a huge piece of my comedy. There's a bit, and it's all about there's no men anymore. And when I watch Road Warrior, my bit is like, there's no men anymore. There's probably a guy in here right now that can't change a flat tire. He's got to call his dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no men anymore. And that's not like I'm a macho man. I'm talking about just figuring out, some guys can't even make a grilled cheese sandwich. So when I look at Road
Pathetic.
Warrior, I go, all those guys were instantly killed at the top of the film. We didn't need to see it because it was just an easy kill. They got a flat tire, a guy came up and ate them, and they rolled on. You know what I mean? So when I look at those films, I think about these guys in their 20s in the crowd watching it going, man, I would never make it. You know, like there's like no bottled water. Bottled water, you know what I mean?
The sad thing is that none of those guys think that way, though. They're like, I'd be fine, dude. I figure it out. I got this, man.
I got this Amex card my parents gave me, and I'll just swipe it. When he's spitting fuel into the fuel injectors, into the blower of that car, he's like...
It's like, just don't blow it out.
Like, what is he doing? What is that thing on the car? I'm like, that's the fucking blower, man. He's getting gas to the carburetor, you know? It's so funny.
Such
like,
a
my
good
Prius
scene.
doesn't have that, though. You know? It's like,
What's that smell?
Yeah. Your fucking Prius would be done instantly.
Yep.
There's nowhere to plug it in.
Start stocking up on 9 volts, people. This is the last one. It is from @LilyJJ McKay. Love your podcast, man. Thank you for being a badass. Are you going on tour anytime soon?
I am going on tour, actually.
That's perfect time. Let's get some plugs in.
Yeah, let's see. Let me give you the dates. I'm going out with Mark Maron.
Rad. Cool. That's going to be a rad show.
Yeah, I just did Davies Symphony Hall with him, which is in San Francisco. We did the Symphony Hall. It was unbelievable.
What's the capacity there? Like insane?
No, it was 2,400, but it was like completely full. But the thing is, it was a building I'd never been in my life.
And you grew up there.
Yeah, I never went to the symphony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You never went to the opera?
Yeah, so it's like, I'm not against it. I just never went. I played rock and stuff. All right, here's what I got coming. Okay, next week. So like I said, I'm doing the Meltdown. And then, let's see here. I'm going to be... I'll be in Vegas with Jay Moore, June 26, 27.
Rad. Love his set too, his stuff.
And then Portland with Marin, July 10th and 11th.
Oh, right on.
And then Toronto, I'm headlining 2 nights at a theater with Brian Redband and I going up there. We're going to do a live Let There Be Talk podcast.
Dope.
July 17 and 18. Then 24, 25, I'm going to be in Denver with Marin. And this was the biggest gig so far. It's my first headlining at Comedy Works. That's June 30th through July 3rd. I'm headlining one of the best rooms in America, Denver Comedy Works.
Nice.
And it's like super prestigious. Like some people go like, best clubs in America are Comedy Store, Comedy Works, and the Cellar, New York. That's like the 3.
Yeah.
So the headline there is going to be incredible.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
man. That's awesome.
I can't wait. Hopefully some people
Killing
show
it, man.
up.
Yeah, they will, man.
Dude,
They will.
all my
You guys
family's in
better-
Denver. I'll make them all
Oh,
go.
yeah.
You guys better show up.
Yeah, Denver. Well, the problem is Denver, they smoke weed, man. It's legal there, and they just don't get up.
Hey, they're a strange breed, though. They can, like, be effective and efficient while smoking
It's
weed.
true, man.
Yeah.
They can hack
Dude,
and sack
they've proved
Frisbee and go to a show.
Go ahead.
They can, absolutely. My sister's like stepmom or something. I don't know how they're related, but she's like a city council lady, and she just fucking blazes up fat, dude.
Yeah.
And she's just like going to work, city council, comes home, smokes weed, like she rages it, dude. She smokes weed her entire life.
I watched the 60 Minutes. They did to the day 1 year. They went the day it was legalized.
Yeah.
Did a 60 Minutes on it, and then 1 year later went back again. And you can watch that on 60minutes.com, but check that out, man, because they have billions of dollars that the government the banks won't take because it's still technically federal offense. So every business, like say we're in here selling weed legally, in the back we have 10 safes full of cash. So there's going to be some modern day cowboy weed robbery going on pretty soon, because that shit's not traceable.
Yeah,
I was watching some things where they've that's the security business is raging in Denver now.
That's right.
Because they're old cops that are getting hired to bring money from here to there, and they're like like 20 dudes strapped, like bringing these vans around and
Well,
stuff.
everything's cash.
Yeah.
So if they need to go to Home Depot, they bring 10 grand cash because they need to get supplies.
Yeah.
All their payroll. So let's say you work for me and you make $1,000 a week, I pay you in cash.
Yep.
So any guy, you could, if you're just a hillbilly, like Road Warrior Mad Max style, you go, hey,
some
I
dirty
don't
leathers,
need the million in the back. I'm going to just knock this dude for
Yep.
$1,000 right here.
Nobody cares
You
about
know?
this dude. Yeah.
Some crazy shit.
That's
Gnarly,
rad.
dude.
Yeah, man.
Denver's awesome though.
It is. I really like Boulder.
Yeah.
I like Denver.
It's beautiful.
Boulder, they got a
Boulder's
theater
so
out there, the
pretty.
Fox.
Mhm.
It is incredible. And Vail and Aspen,
Oh,
all
yeah.
that shit is
It's
God's
gorgeous.
country.
Yeah, dude.
Talk about like cruising around America and seeing the sights, dude.
Yeah.
Colorado is
I rode
like,
through there 6
love
times
it.
on the way to Sturgis. You know, I ride my motorcycle to Sturgis, and you're taking the 70 up through Vail Pass. Then you go through that tunnel, man, that's like 6
fucking
miles
tunnel,
long or
dude.
whatever.
That thing's
How
terrifying
long
in the
is
middle
that
of the
fucking tunnel?
insanely long.
Man, and it wasn't even built till 1972.
Dang.
Yeah, man.
What'd they do before?
Well, they went around this mountain.
Yeah.
And, my buddy told me, he goes, next time, don't take the tunnel. Take the mountain around. He said the scenery is electric.
bet.
So I'm going to try that this
I'll
year.
bet.
Okay, man.
Hell yeah.
Last time I drove out, it was like April, and I got there. I was like going around that tunnel area like at midnight.
Yeah.
And it was just coming down crazy.
12,000 feet up there.
It's insane, dude.
It's free. It'll be summer and
The
it'll
road
be freezing
yeah,
up there.
yeah. The road's completely covered in snow. You
Yeah.
can't see the lanes. Like
I drove through.
It's gnarly.
I drove through there during a blizzard one time.
it's gnarly,
I was
dude.
driving through
Spooky.
Chicago.
Yeah.
2012, 2011.
You're just
something
seeing
like that,
cars
yeah.
like peel off on the side, and
Yeah,
you're like,
dude.
hope that guy's
I saw,
okay.
like, 3
I
or
can't
4
stop
cars
right now.
Just
Yeah.
like spin out right in front of me. And
Yeah.
it was not
Aspen
all at one
is
time. but-
amazing.
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know?
Aspen's crazy. Boulder's so beautiful, man.
It is, man. You could see why Hunter S. Thompson went out there
Oh, yeah.
just to decompress.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting the fuck out. I'm going to fucking Aspen, and I'm chilling.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know? It's wild.
All right, Dean. So where can people find all your stuff, man? Website.
Twitter, Dean Del Rey. That's DELRAY. Same thing with the website, DeanDelRey.com.
Tight.
And then Periscope. I've been Periscoping a lot of stuff, Dean Del Rey. And my podcast is Let There Be Talk. It's on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud. It's free. It comes out every Monday and Thursday.
Rad.
Tons
you
of
do
rock.
2 a week.
I do one live one. What happened
dude.
was I was getting so many emails, and I love to email everyone personally back, but I get so many now, and a lot of them are like, what's your favorite band? Any new bands? Where are you doing comedy? So now I do one a week that's a live call-in show. You just
Yeah.
call and ask me anything you want.
It's like Frank Zappa, man.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and it's radical. But it's so great to hear these people, man. They call from all around the world. I get calls from like South Africa, Australia,
Wow.
London, Oklahoma, Canada, shitloads of Canada.
All the way
I
out
love
in
it.
Oklahoma?
Canada loves I'm just saying that's how
Yeah, dude.
absurd it is. You got
That's
one from
so
South
sick,
Africa, and
man.
another guy will be I'm from Tennessee, So yeah, that's
Righteous,
on
man.
Thursdays. It's a live call show, and
That's
then
awesome.
Monday is usually the main guest.
Right on, brother.
I dig it.
Well, thank
And
you
I
so
thank-
much for.
dude. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me,
thank you,
man.
Of course, man. We'll have to do something again real soon.
Abs, you
Yeah,
guys are writing a
but-
song together, dude.
When
Yeah,
I'm,
we're gonna
when
write a
I'm in
song.
San Diego, we'll hook up and I'll
We
have you
can
guys
come up
on.
here too, man. We're
Yeah.
mobile.
Yeah,
we got
all
wheels.
right. There
So,
you go.
yeah,
I
dude.
love that. Why don't you guys move?
We probably will at some
We
point.
talk about this every time we come
we
up
drive
here.
up, we're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're gonna have to move
What
up
was
here.
it
huh?
Just fucking move, man.
You know how awesome
We'll come
San
up and
Diego
chill.
is, though.
I know, but the problem is you'll get too comfortable and you'll never leave.
I know.
Do it now
I'm
while
already
you're
in that
young.
place. Yeah.
You don't mind shitty apartments with noise.
Oh, I
and
live in a
stuff.
shitty apartment with noise.
well, there
San
you go.
Diego's gorgeous and chill.
I know. I hear
Yeah.
you. I hear you.
But chill's not what we're after, man. We're
Yeah.
after raging. So
That's it. Thanks
Word.
for having me on,
Yeah,
guys.
Thanks for
Thank you,
coming on,
guys.
dude.
Thank you, man.
See you
Word.
next time.
Yeah, yo. Thank you guys for watching the D-Lod show, as always. Thank you to Meltdown. Thank you to... What's the place down? Oh, yeah.
London.
That's London's not a place.
Londyn Jackson.
London is a place, actually.
Londyn Jackson and
Dude.
yeah, come on through, man. We're just about to go through the galaxy.
Yeah, find him at D-Lod show or DLodBand.com.
Us at dlodband.com, but whatever.
For me, yeah.
Yes.
Last time you said that I looked. Yeah, me at BattleCastShow, BattleCastShow.com. You can add me on Facebook too. Let's just chat about Batmans and such. You want to get
Dean Del Rey. Dean
Del Rey.
Dean Del Rey. I can't talk right now.
Dean Del Rey.
I'm so excited about traveling the universe.
We're gonna go to Sagittarius and get butt naked and party with some space nymphs.
All right.
Let's do that.
Let's do it. Peace out, guys.
Later.
This has been the Digital Lizards of Doom show live at Meltdown.